cool intro sound.
Alright, how's it going guys? AlphaYGO back at it again, and today we got the long-awaited DDD deck profile. I know it's been a long time coming guys, it's been a rough time out here in quarantine, but I hope everyone is happy and healthy out there. I guess just a couple of side notes before we get into the list. My apologies it took so long to come out. I know MR5 and the new support came out a long time ago, but recently I've been taking a look into more different deck building theories from people like Jesse Cotton and Patrick Oben, and kind of optimizing the list as much as possible for you guys, because I wanted to showcase off a list that was very competitively viable. I wanted to create something that wasn't just fun, but very competent in actual competitive environments. That's the approach I took into building this, and hopefully you guys can kind of see my thought process as I go through the cards. And because of what's happening out there, I'm not able to really get the cards that I need, and you guys will see like throughout the list I've proxied a couple cards, so I want to apologize in advance for that. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. First we have 3/7 Kepler. Kepler is basically the best normal summon in the deck and gets us into our entire engine. Of course, we have very key combo cards such as triple Sword Slime, triple Lamia, and then of course triple Necro Slime. Necro Slime is something I was debating on cutting down to 2, even though it is a very important combo piece. The only reason I was thinking of it 2 is because I made this deck incredibly competent in being able to search out all your combo pieces as much as you can. It was almost like maybe you don't need the third Sword Slime, but then just for the sake of consistency, we are running it at maximum count. Next we have triple Copernicus. Copernicus is always something I ran at 2 because ideally the amount of normal summons we have is just comprised of Kepler and Copernicus. Kepler is our main normal summon in the deck because that's what gets you the most pluses, but Copernicus isn't just a normal summon, it's also an extender. You can also have it in hand and Swirl Slime can bring it out and get you any other piece that you're missing. So in that case, I was like, even though 5 is like the magic number for normal summons, I wanted to put more consistency in. This acts as an extender and a normal summon, so I thought, you know what, I think 3 copies is just fine. Next up we have a card that I know a lot of you might not want to agree with, but for the sake of this list we are running 3 Magician Souls. Of course they are proxy because I don't own them, and I do have to point out that these do not have to be Magician Soul. It does not have to be Magician Soul. You can run any other level 1 extender, whether it's something like Fiend Sanctuary, Adara, or maybe even like the Clown Jester monster, whatever it's called. Just any other level 1 starter is really good for the deck because we are running Wear Arfthau. And Wear Arfthau in this deck is really powerful because, as you can see, a bunch of our combo pieces like Lamia and Necro Slime are both level 1, and Kepler is also level 1, which helps being able to search out a normal summon, and that lets us designate our contract search to the Swirl Slime specifically, which is incredibly powerful for our hand. Again, you don't need to run Souls. Soul just makes the most sense with the deck list I'm running right now because of Allure, because of the synergy with the contracts, but any other level 1 starter is good enough. And of course with 3 Magician Soul, you are running the 1 Apprentice Illusion. It doesn't have to be this Magician, there are other techs you could run, but just for the sake of argument, we're just running this. We're then running, of course, triple Ragnarok. Ragnarok is just like a great bomb card, I'd say. It's like it's also an extender, it's really powerful. I don't think it needs much explanation. We are in this case running 1 Thomas. The thing is, I've seen a lot of people cut Thomas to 0, and initially you were always running it at 2. I felt for this list you only needed it at 1, and you'll kind of see later on when you look at the entire deck list why it's only at 1. 1 is only because it's the searchable utility card, which helps us get resources, it helps us make out rank 8, but it's not necessary for the combos. You have a bunch of powerful other monsters in the deck that can create powerful plays like Ragnarok into more rank 8s, anything like that. You don't actually need the Thomas, but I'm running 1 Thomas because I like the recursion, I like that extra push if I need it, so that's the only reason I'm running it. You might be realizing I'm not running Orthos, the level 4 tuner. The reason because, if anything, I would maybe push that to the side. I don't think the way I built the deck so far that I necessarily need it, but it is a very powerful utility card in outing really troublesome back row like, you know, Floodgates or Mystic Minds, so I think Orthos is very powerful. I just don't run it in the main deck at the moment. Next up we have 1 nodes such as Apocalypse, which is pulled off of Gilgamesh often and a really great extender, and 1 Ghost. I know some people like to run more than 1 Ghost. I'm only running the 1. It's not exactly the bird, but it's the card you want to pull off Needle Fiber the most. You only really need 1 to get a lot of value off of it. You don't need multiple, and again, I'll show off the entire list like overall to kind of get a better idea of why I'm running just 1. For the spells, we are running, of course, triple Contract. This is without a doubt a mandatory in this deck. It's just a Rhoda. We are running a secondary Kepler target, so this is just great. Basically another combo card with our hands because it acts as a slime if you don't open a slime. So it's really nice in that. The only downside of it, it's not a monster, so that's kind of the one downside. But with Magician Souls, it kind of acts as another way to draw deeper into our deck. after you use it, or if you don't need it, it's just extra draw power with Magician's Soul. Next up we have triple Wear Off Thou. Yes, I am proxying 2 of the Wear Off Thous. My friend borrowed them, and I wasn't able to have them for the profile, which is very unfortunate. But triple Wear Off Thou, because with Magician's Souls, with Kepler, with Lamia, with Necro Slime, there are a lot of level 1 targets, and assembling all those combo pieces in your hand is incredibly important for this deck. So that's the main reason for running this. And burn damage isn't too much of a big deal. It's a combo that your opponent shouldn't be playing through your board very easily anyways. So moving on, we'll of course have triple Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness is just very staple in this deck. We then of course have 1 Foolish and 1 for 1, which is just really great powerful one-ofs. And then we have triple Call by the Grave. Call by the Grave is something I don't actually like running in the deck because it's not a combo piece, but the deck really struggles, particularly when you're trying to assemble your hand. Not your board, but your hand. When you're trying to assemble all your combo pieces, you will ash your Kepler or your Contract, and it's really troublesome. But being able to accomplish your entire engine into your hand is the main point, because then you'll be able to accomplish your entire board. Now, as you guys can see, this is now a 40 card list, but I have broken one of the greatest taboos in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I have justified running an Into the Void and Upstart in this list. And you're gonna be like, Alpha, why in the world are you running a 42 card deck with Into the Void and Upstart? And I have to explain, it's literally because of sighting. So let's say you're in game 2 and 3, and you've sighted out these 5 cards for 5 going second cards, like let's say Nibiru and Dark Ruler No More, something like that, right? I did the math in a hyper geometric calculator, and I came to the conclusion, seeing one of your 5 cards in a 42 card deck is better substantially than 3 copies of a card in a 40 card list. So that's literally the only reason I'm doing this. And in your main deck, in your games 1, these don't really affect your ratios necessarily, because once you see them, it just represents your next card. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't really break your consistency. It's just odd to ever do it. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense at first glance, but of course you can just take these out of the list and just run the 40 card list as it is. And to basically establish why I'm running it the way I am, I'm going to give a breakdown. So of course you have 3 Kepler right here. 3 Kepler represents 3 Contract. And 3 Contract basically represents another extra copy of all our combo cards right along here. These are pulled off our Link monsters, and this is just a situational card. Essentially, you guys can see each combo card here is received through a Contract, which is received through a Kepler. It's almost like we're playing 9 copies of Swirl Slime and everything else. But to increase that chances even further, basically running also another level 1 starter with stuff like Wear Off Thou, because you guys can kind of see the map of where this is going, because now this engine allows us to see this, which allows us to see any of these, right? That's kind of like the way I built this deck. And of course, like 1 for 1 also counts as another avenue into Kepler and into the other combo pieces. And you can kind of imagine the rest of the deck is literally just like extra engine requirements, another powerful one of, you know, consistency, utility, and draw. So you guys can kind of see the way the deck is built right now. And for Link monsters, we of course have the trifecta of Gilgamesh, Cross Sheep, and Needle Fiber. These obviously don't need too much explanation, but Gilgamesh is just great follow-up play, great for your final board. Cross Sheep is just a fantastic monster. It's basically the honorary DD monster. Needle Fiber, we all know how broken it is, but we're not hard abusing it in this deck. We're just trying to pull out some extra tuners and go for extra pushes with it. Next, we are running 3 fusions. We're running 2 normal Genghis and 1 high Genghis. The reason for this is because this is the minimum amount that you probably need to do all your combos, and I feel like because extra deck space is so tight, this is all we can really afford to run, so that's what I'm going with. 2 different level 8s. Kali-Yuga is basically mandatory because it's such a powerful monster. You don't actually have to run Hope Harbinger here. Your other option is stuff like Photon Lord or something like Dingirsu. Dingirsu is incredibly powerful. And for our synchros, we have the level 8s, which are Siegfried, Brawl Savage, and Crystal Wing. Of course, these are the go-to monsters. I always said that like the Brawl Savage is the new age Crystal Wing, and I never opted to run Crystal Wing because it's always situational to make with, you know, a synchro monster. But with the way I built the deck at the moment, it's pretty okay to run. And I know Brawl Savage is an expensive monster right now, so what I'm offering to you guys is this guy. This guy's a lot more affordable. Draco Berserker of Tinyi. I don't think he shot up in price, so hopefully he's still a pretty budget option. But you can either replace Crystal Wing because this is a little more generic, or you can replace the Brawl Savage with it because it's much more affordable. Moving on, we have Formula Synchron to pull off Needle Fiber. It lets you draw, which is really important for this deck because having as many follow-up plays on the next turn is incredibly powerful. Being able to synchro off with one of your monsters is incredibly potent. Of course, you have Alexander as a stepping stone piece. And we're also running oddized meteor burst. The reason we're running oddized meteor burst in this is because its utility is incredibly potent. You can pull Ragnar out of scale and basically get free pluses. And it's just a great stepping stone piece into something like Crystal Wing and our actual next target, which is Christian Phoenix. The only reason I'm not running Satellite Warrior is because I don't own it and I don't have a copy of me, and I was too lazy to print that one out because I printed out the proxies one day and later realized I need Satellite Warrior and I didn't want to print out one single card. So basically, I'm just running a Phoenix instead. And Meteor Burst works really well with Phoenix because these two can create this, right? So that's the only reason. But this is also a really good card, like, because Eldritch is one of the #1 decks at the moment. This is a really strong card against that deck, so I wouldn't put it past people trying to run this. If I were to change things, I would of course maybe offer the Satellite Warrior. If not this, it has to be dependent on what's really good at the moment. And this can be replaced with something like D-Arc. D-Arc is incredibly powerful, especially in a wear-off style deck, because you can gain a lot of life points and just win in time. If anything, I'd maybe stick D-Arc in the side deck potentially. You know, it's up to personal preference at that point. And thank you guys so much for watching, and my bad for being gone for so long. I'll try to keep this deck as updated as much as possible. Make sure to leave your ideas and suggestions down in the comments below. Stay healthy, everyone. Catch you guys later.